Namaste. Welcome to this lecture series on why acoustics. In today's session, we are going to talk about three topics. The first one is the equal loudness curve, which is not a well understood topic. Second, we are going to talk about the acoustics aspects related to music. And third, the acoustic aspects related to speech. Coming to the first topic, equal loudness curve. Okay, before knowing what exactly it is, let me give the background about how this was arrived upon. Way back in 1933 at Bell Laboratories, these two engineers, Fletcher and Munson, they were assigned a task. Bell Laboratories, as you know, is a telephone company, and when they were designing the telephone system, they wanted to see which frequency, audio frequency, will be ideal for them to develop the product so that it will work efficiently. As you know, the audio frequency is between 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. But in that, the frequency for the speech is very narrow. So they wanted to ideally see, based on the actual perception of our ears, which will be the efficient frequency band based on which they can design a product. Now, when these engineers worked on experimenting these things, so they arrived upon this equal loudness curve, which was a really eye-opener in having an excellent understanding of our human ears' response to the audio frequencies. Okay, let me come into the details. Okay, here, as usual, we see a graph. Okay, this is a x-axis, which is a frequency, which is in hertz, which is audio frequency, as you know, and y-axis is the sound pressure level, which is in decibel. Now here I have 20 to 20 kilohertz, and SPL is marked between 0 to 120 dB. Now there are two aspects. See, one is the sound pressure level. See, sound pressure level is measurable, is a physical entity which can be measured. Loudness is subjective, right? It is subjective, which what I perceive as a loudness, as high you may perceive it as a medium. So loudness is subjective. It changes from person to person, and it depends on our ear's response. So basically this is telling us something about the actual sound pressure level of what the measured entity and what our ears are going to respond in terms of the loudness, right? Okay, I will start with this particular, the first curve actually. This is, you can see the reference frequency is 1 kilohertz. Okay, for equal loudness curve, 1 kilohertz is taken as a reference frequency with which the rest of the frequency are determined. Now at 0 dB, if you see, at 1 kilohertz is at 0 dB, and this curve, it looks like something like this. Same way, at 1 kilohertz, when 10 dB SPL, this curve crosses, this is the response. Now this is a loudness curve. We call this as a loudness curve. When a loudness curve, it passes through 1 kilohertz frequency, you determine what will be the dB level. So that will be in fonts. So loudness level is determined in terms of fonts. So here we have 0 font, 10 font, 60 font, 90 font, 100. Of course, there are in between. I didn't draw just for making it clarity. Let me also put the actual graph in this video so that you can see in detail how the actual Fletcher-Munson curve looks like. Now, a little bit of understanding what really it means. Now, let us see 10 font curve, yeah? Equal loudness curve. So, equal loudness curve, it means this curve determines equal loudness at different frequency. Let me make it more clear. Now, at 1 kilohertz, like for example, you are listening to a 1 kilohertz tone, okay, at 10 dB. Okay, say you're closing your eyes and you're listening to this frequency at 1 kilohertz. Okay, you see, or you will hear at a particular loudness level. Okay, then your friend is going to change the frequency. Let us say he is going to play 100 hertz. Now at 100 hertz, if you see roughly, it is going to be, let me draw it here. Say, let us say it is 50 dB. So what it means is, when it's going to play 100 hertz, you will say, I'm not able to hear clearly. Okay, can you just raise the level? Okay, then you will raise the level, and you have to raise to 50 dB so that I can listen at the same level, which is at this curve. Now same way, you go to 20 hertz, then you have to play at 80 dB. That means there is a boost of 80 dB is required so that you can listen at the same level. Okay, that is called as equal loudness. So for human ear to listen at an equal loudness curve, actually it is varying from frequency to frequency. Now let us say where you go to higher level, okay, 10 phone, 60 to 90 phone. Now at 90 phone, you can see it is almost not much of difference, actually, not much of difference. And here this curve, this we will call this as the hearing threshold. Above this is a hearing threshold where the auditory level starts. And here the maximum level with which our human ear can listen, to that level, we call it as a threshold of pain. So basically from here to here to this region, yeah, that is, this whole area is called as the auditory area. Beyond this, whatever region are we cannot hear it. Okay, this is the auditory area where we can listen very clearly. Now let me take two different curve actually. Let us take 10 phon. 10 phon curve. Okay, at 1 kilohertz, right? At 1 kilohertz, it was 10 dB. At 20 hertz, how much it was? Let us say 80 dB. Right? So which means almost 70 dB level difference is there. Next, let us take a 90 phon curve. Now 90 phon at 1 kilohertz, it's 90 dB, correct? Sorry, this will be 20 hertz. Huh? At 20 hertz, the 90 dB curve will be about 122 roughly, 122 dB. So this will come to about 32 dB. So what exactly it means is, when let us take your at home you have a music system. When you're playing at a medium or lower than medium level, okay, you're listening to some very good music with rich content of low frequency and high frequency. When you're hearing, what exactly will happen is, you will not be able to appreciate the bass part of it, where the drums or beats will not be able to hear. Hey, come on, you just raise the level. You will tell your brother, can you just raise the level? So when he raises the level to say 90 dB, there it's much better, because all the loudness curve almost is almost flat, we could say above 90 dB, and you will hear everything at the same level. See, that's why that is one of the reason in big systems, in high-end systems, you have the graphic equalizer, right? Graphic equalizer, where you can adjust the level at different frequencies. And some of the systems you may have is like bass and treble. Bass is for low frequency, treble is for the high frequency. So for bass frequency, suppose you are hearing at a medium level of music, then what you will tend to do is, you will boost the bass because of this equal loudness curve, right? So at 1 kilohertz it will be very clear, but at low frequency the power is not enough for you to appreciate the music. So your loudness at 20 hertz or less than 100 hertz, it requires little more boost. So then you boost your bass. So that is the concept of equal loudness curve, which is applicable in any part of the audio industry. Even in acoustics, you will know why this equal loudness curve becomes a very important concept in having a clear understanding of how the overall thing is. Two more information I would like to give with relation to this equal loudness curve. See, as we saw that Fletcher and Munchen, after doing this experiment, finally they found that this region between 1 kilohertz to 5 kilohertz is the right range, because it's almost equal and is the most efficient, and they would require less of electronics power to power the telephony system. So for telephony, 1 kilohertz to 5 kilohertz is the frequency with which it was operating. See, that's why earlier most of the telephones, when we used to see when you say hello, it won't be listened as real hello when somebody says in front of you. It will be like hello, 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 something like this, because its bandwidth is limited to 1 to 5 kilohertz. If somebody has a good bass, talking over the phone, it's not going to be like this. Okay, it will be like hello, how are you? Something like this. So that is a thing. And second is, coming to the ears, we saw in the earlier lecture about the structure, anatomy of the ear, and how the ears, it has a tube and how it functions as a particular audio tube for the audio frequency. And we saw 3.5 kilohertz is the frequency which we are very sensitive to, and this also reflects here very clearly. In this equal loudness curve, suppose if you take this as 3.5 kilohertz, so basically from this is 3.5 kilohertz. Okay, so this is the frequency at which you can see the ears are more sensitive. Whatever may be the level, ears are more sensitive. So this is one understanding about the equal loudness curve pertaining to our ears anatomy and how it is very sensitive at that particular frequency. Of course, it may be having a range between 3 to 3.5 kilohertz depending on individual. Coming to the second topic, music. And as you know, music and speech are in a way related to equal loudness curve, and it gives a better understanding. And here I made some changes over the previous graph which I have drawn. I have removed all the in-between fonts, retaining this minimum audible threshold and the maximum level with which our human ears can listen. And if you see, I have enveloped this with a red border. Okay, so this region actually is called as an audible region, where the human ears can listen. Now it is bounded by frequencies between 20 to 20 kilohertz is the range with which a frequency, and in terms of loudness level, on the x-axis you can see, which is from 0 dB, so it may be up to 120 to 130 dB. So that is the audible area bounded by frequency and SPL, right? This is a minimum audible threshold and this is the maximum audible threshold. Now where does the music frequencies and things lies? So this is the region which is occupied by music. Okay, now I've shown this as a blue region, which means the whole of this region is for music. Now we talk about something called as dynamic range. Now dynamic range is softest to the loudest. From the softest to the loudest is the dynamic range. So if 20 hertz is 20 dB SPL is the softest, and say 100 dB is the loudest, then the dynamic range is the difference between these two. 100 minus 20, 80 dB is the dynamic range. Now for music, the dynamic range is 75 dB. Okay, that is a maximum dynamic range based on this equal loudness curve. And how about the frequency? Now the frequency for the music is between 50 hertz to 8500 hertz. So music, that is a bandwidth and at the dynamic range within which the music operates. So if you see, the music occupies major portion of this audible region. Coming to the third topic, speech, which is an extension of music. Now again, it's a modification over the previous diagram which I have drawn. Here I have accommodated the speech region. Okay. Now here you can see the red portion is the audible region, blue is the music region, and speech region is marked by black. Now you can see for the speech, the dynamic range is 42 dB and the frequency range is between 170 Hz to 4 kHz. So that is the speech frequency. With it, both male, female, everyone's voice comes within this range. And we also saw in that telephony where they used to focus between 1 to 5 kHz. So which means even if somebody speaks in this frequency, it is going to be more nasal, right? When you say hello, it will be hello, like that. So that is about the speech, which is much more smaller compared to music. The music is much more smaller compared to the overall audible region of our ears. Now I would like to throw upon some more concept related to speech. Now here you can see one more diagram, which is nothing but the same diagram, just I pulled it out here. Here you can see I've done the markings like the fundamental tone, V is for vowels, VC is the voiced consonants, and this region is the unvoiced consonants. Now you know any of the language grammar, we talk about vowels and consonants, right? Vowels in English we talk about A, E, I, O, U, and the rest of the alphabets are consonants. Same way in Sanskrit or Hindi, we have A, E, like that, which are vowels, and K, G, like those are the consonants in Sanskrit or Hindi language. Now, you must have experienced with some elderly people. See, sometimes when you are talking, when they are hard of hearing, see, one of the natural thing that happens is as we age above 50 over the time, the high frequency response is going to get limited. Okay, but this region is going to be same actually. We will start losing the high frequency response. That is, we won't be able to listen to high frequency as we age. This is a natural phenomena. So it's nothing you or I cannot do anything about it, and that is how it is. So that's why in some cases, some of the elderly couple, they require hearing aids. And this is one common experience you must have seen at home. So when you have your grandma or something, so when you tell something, they say, hey, can you repeat? Then you think that they didn't listen clearly and you start shouting at them. You didn't hear? Like that. So then they will say, no, I can hear, just talk with less volume, right? This is a common experience we all must have had. And here, this will give a fairly better understanding of why this happens. Now, in language, vowels are the one which gives power. Like where any spoken sentence, if you want to increase the power, we say we increase the vowels, the volume of the vowels. If I want to increase my volume, I give more stress on vowels, right? Then my voice goes up. Consonant are the one which gives a message. See, vowels give power, whereas consonants will give message. Now here you see this vowels, it comes somewhere here, right? Vowels are here. Whereas this is the region. See, as I mentioned, a high frequency people will start losing over the time. And maybe your grandma has already lost this. As I mentioned, when the consonants are lost in any message, we lose the content. So we don't understand what it is. Now, here there is two different things, voiced consonant and unvoiced consonant. let me give a basic difference. Voiced consonants is, for example, the letter B. B. When you say B, it starts from here. B. Right? You say P. 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 You just open the mouth, the word P comes. Right? P. B. So this is a voiced consonant. B is a voiced consonant. Unvoiced consonants is P. So any words that has unvoiced consonants, when you speak, when your grandma or grandpa doesn't listen clearly, those are the unvoiced consonants. Whereas the vowels, the power with which you deliver your talk is the same. He is able to listen to these vowels clearly, as well as voiced consonant. Only thing they are not able to hear is the unvoiced consonants. So that's the reason they tell you, hey, don't scream. I can hear clearly. Just repeat once again. So when they say repeat once again, it means that they didn't hear well the unvoiced consonant part of your talk. So I hope you have a clear idea of what this speech region and how our hearing gets affected at high frequency when we age. Thanks for watching this video. See you in my next lecture.